My TED Talk is about how to make money as a teenager and find a source of income as early as you can. Backstory. This is me in 5th grade. Yeah, I know this guy's pretty cute, but he's always been interested in money and the best ways to find it. So I found the best ways to start is babysitting, drop shipping, or to invest in the stock market. Investing in the stock market hooked me immediately because it involves graphs and math as a kid. So my dad created me an account. First spark. Back in 2016, I was always interested in reading random articles and watching the news. I know, that's totally normal for a 10-year-old. But back to the story. I was watching Backyardigans on my iPad before school, in the morning before, where my parents were watching the news and they were talking about legalizing a silly plant in California called marijuana. I thought it had a funny name, so I looked up articles about it and found one from Yahoo Finance that talked about a company called Sundial Growers. So I went to my dad's Robinhood account that he made for me and bought about 100 stocks for about $50. And they legalized marijuana in California, and it exploded and jumped over 600% and gained me $300 as only a 10-year-old. My goal is to help more teenagers find a revenue source without misspending their time. Factors for the job. First, it should take less than 10 hours a week. The reason I chose this as a factor is because us as teenagers, we have to wake up early to get to school or to get the extra help when we need it. And then having to go right after that to a full day of school and then all the way after that to an after-school activity. This can consume tons of time, and don't forget to do your homework or even have a social life. Next one is how much money it's bringing in, which is personally my favorite. And lastly, is it sustainable or easy to start up? Here are the options I've experienced on a table. The first one is babysitting, which is personally not my favorite because you can't have very much revenue from it. Next is drop shipping, which is when you sell a product, usually made from cheap in China, to anywhere around the world. Some people like this option because you don't have to physically store this product in a warehouse or a store. But don't be fooled. This is one of the hardest side hustles because it's extremely competitive and saturated, and flaws in shipping times, which can lead to lots of unhappy customers, but has a large upside in revenue if you're successful. And lastly is investing in the stock market. This is my favorite because it's easy to start up and it's sustainable. How to start? All it takes is 10 minutes and answer a couple of questions. I personally have 2 accounts, one in Robinhood and my largest in Charles Schwab. My experiences. I've been trading for over half a decade and have outperformed the S&P 4 out of the 5 years. For those who don't know, the S&P 500 is a stock index that consists of the largest 500 companies in the US, like Amazon, Apple, Tesla, and more. Next, we have types of trading. There's short-term, swing trading, and long-term. Short-term, you trade day by day. Swing trading, you trade over a couple days or even weeks. And lastly, long-term, you trade over years. Tips and tricks. First one is to use indicators and don't trade with your emotions. What I mean by don't trade with your emotions is if you're down on the day and not making good trades, don't just start throwing money everywhere to make that money back. This is a common mistake with novice traders and lead them to become unsuccessful. Next is to be consistent and find a routine. This will give you the best chance of becoming a successful investor and becoming profitable. And lastly, have a diverse portfolio.